Everybody, this is Sean from North Star. Kind of something we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to do some different videos here. At least I am as well about some of our equipment, um, mainly for other people that are starting to get into the paranormal investigations and looking for equipment, and also just for those who wonder some of the stuff that we use. Um, so right now, today what I'm going to talk about is the K2 meter. Um, The K2 meter is actually probably one of my favorite tools to work, just because it's easy to use. Um, I don't have to worry about having my hands full, and it's actually fairly cheap. I don't like having to spend a whole lot of money. For those of you that do the paranormal investigations, I mean, some of the stuff can get really expensive. The K2 meter is it's an EMF detector, EMF meter. So EMF meter detects electromagnetic energy in the area. One of the things is to understand how an EMF meter works. It also helps to know kind of what the universe's four basic forces, which is electromagnetism. Some of my talking here is I can't really pronounce this word. I kind of wrote myself some notes here, so you'll have to work with me a little bit. But so what it is that occurs when electric current changes or moves. So strongest currents give off higher EMF readings, and while you can't see electromagnetic fields, they are often present in atmospheres from natural electrical or magnetic sources. So EMF mirrors detect the presence of electromagnetic frequency through the use of one or more of the antennas that measure varying types of currents, such as AC and DC. With the K2 meter, it doesn't have an antenna. There's another kind of an EMF detector that I do like to use, a little bit more on the pricier side, but it's called a Mel meter. So with the Mel meters, they'll have a longer antenna and they'll have a digital readout. And some of the Mel meters that you can buy, just the Mel meter itself will have the temp, and like on here you can see how it has the different readings. So on the actual Mel meter, it'll actually have a digital readout and it'll actually have the precise. And some of them do. You can get the ones with the REM. So if you've ever seen like the REM pods with the antenna, so they'll have if you get too close enough to it with the electromagnetic field, they'll actually start to measure that, and then the actual temperature measurement will be on the other side of it. When EMF is present, the meter registers the reading. The strength of the reading depends on the strength of the frequency. So some of the causes of EMF, a lot of powered objects such as like video, audio equipment, cell phones are a big thing, and I'll kind of fall into that here in a little bit and kind of explain why cell phones are a big thing of how they set off, and to kind of keep in mind during investigations, and also kind of like false reads you could get. Also clock, radios, they all give off electromagnetic energy when a current flows. Also, likewise, power lines, outlets, and other common electrical items all generate EMF. A lot of times in residential houses, even some bigger buildings, anything electrical, a lot of times if there's a current running through it, this will measure that electromagnetic field. A lot of times what we'll see is like your electrical box where that'll register high electromagnetic fields. In an office that has all kinds of different computer stuff, modems, all that stuff will set it off. Like right now, my watch is kind of setting this off a little bit. Also, a lot of natural sources will cause EMF, like the changes in atmosphere during a lightning storm. That can also cause a higher electromagnetic field within the air. One of the ways to use this, and this is the biggest way I use it, there's two type of ways I do it. So a lot of times what I'll do is get a baseline. So what it is a baseline of environmental measurements. So like when we go to an alleged location that has certain paranormal activity, or even if we go to residence. So for me, I like to do a baseline testing. So a lot of times that will include like the temperature and then the electromagnetic energy. So with mine, I can't do the temperature. We have other devices that can check the temperature. That's why Mel meters are somewhat nice, because they have both. They have the temperature and the Mel part on it. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go through a house or a building and just kind of walk around in each room, especially in the areas that are reported to have more activity, and just kind of see what the baseline for the activity or the electromagnetic field is in there. So a lot of times, if it stays close, on the first two greens, I'll keep that in mind. I'll kind of watch a little bit. But if it starts getting up higher, I'll start to kind of pinpoint where it is and see if I can figure out where it is, because a lot of times is that I want to figure out if that area has a high EMF and we do get activity in there, there is some correlation to it. But a lot of times is, throughout the course of the investigation, I want to watch for the unexplained changes in the environment data that appears to correspond with the possible of the activity. So a lot of times, so say if I go in a room, we don't have any EMF in that area, and all of a sudden we're just getting high spikes and everything. You take account of, okay, well, the baseline earlier, there wasn't anything in here. And now I'm having high EMF. Again, I'll talk about some of the miscues and, a lot of the false readings you want to watch for. Another thing too that I want to say is the K2 meter. It's highly sensitive to EMF. So cell phone signals and other types of EMF can cause it to light up. So I'm going to take off my watch here so it doesn't interrupt. I want to show you why you have to be very careful with cell phones. So right now, this cell phone is on normal. So a lot of things, it just goes off. But now, let's see if I can get out of this. The biggest thing is that it's on airplane mode. So what you want to do is that, so like right now, it's off airplane mode. High EMF. It's one thing about phones or anything electrical. Now, the biggest thing to do when you go and you're doing a paranormal investigation or you're using a K2 meter, especially when you have a phone around, you want to turn on airplane mode. That turns off anything that's unnecessary for electrical wise. Now I essentially have nothing coming from that. See that? But then when I turn off airplane mode, all of a sudden it goes right back to the high EMF. So that's a lot of things, a lot of reasons too. In investigations, a lot of people don't put their phone on airplane mode. When you're on investigations, realistically, you don't even need your cell phone. If you don't have a watch, then yeah, I understand. Use it for a clock. But these can really screw with your equipment. And it's not just a K2 meter. Be anything that records. There's like the millimeter. There is, I'll talk about some of the other equipment we have that kind of, measure the EMF fields. All these phones, they can do that. My watch can do it. Anything with electrical stuff through it. Some of my camera equipment, it can technically do it. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. Kind of like a modem. So like this. So obviously that's not paranormal. We can explain that. A lot of times with me is that when I'm using this, my biggest thing when I go to do paranormal investigations, I try to become I'm a very logical person. I want proof. I want real evidence. I want to do everything I can to disprove that the evidence is real first. And that's just because for data in doing research in paranormal, is you want to have stuff that you can say, well, I did everything I could. For me, it's very plausible or very possible that, the activity we got off of this is unexplained to why we would get the experience, because there isn't any electromagnetic field. We didn't have any of our cell phones on. I just use it, you more or less use it to collect the data. So obviously like I was saying, a change in the EMF reading doesn't necessarily show that a spirit or a ghost may be nearby, even in the presence of possible paranormal activity. Instead, it remains more of a data point that may help measure some of that activity. In order for the correlation to become scientifically valid, indicator of ghosts or controlled, peer-reviewed scientific studies need to prove it is so. Therefore, there is no scientific proof or scientific study, peer-reviewed, or anything that shows that this stuff actually can record paranormal activity. So thus far, no one has been really able to prove or disprove the EMS hypothesis to EMF detectors. Doesn't mean that they don't work. I've used them to where I feel like it works for me, based on the, getting a baseline reading and, disproving certain things. But at the same time, I feel like I've also had it, been able to use it in actually communicating with some kind of a spirit or some kind of energy that was around. So a lot of times too, say if you do record high EMF, so high EMF, it can cause some weird sensations. So find high levels of EMF in an alleged location may suggest a logical explanation for reports of the possible paranormal experiences. With all of us North Star, we do a lot more than just, go to these locations and get a scare. 90% of what we do is research and evaluating and, looking for certain things. And then the 10% of the investigation part, which even for me during the investigation, a lot of times what we're doing, at least for what I'm doing, is I want to try to find reason, like whatever the claims are. I want to try to disprove it in respect to the homeowner or the person that called us in, is because I want to make sure that what I'm getting is real stuff. So I'm not saying that, you know, what people are feeling isn't wrong, but I want to see if I can find some logical reason that it could be. Even though with me, I'm not a professional in this. You know, there is no actual professionals within paranormal field, but at the same time, it's one of those things that you can say that, well, it's possible. You know, it's possible. Do we have high electromagnetic field? Which what is associated with that are these lists of symptoms. So I bought mine off of eBay a while ago. And I'll move my laptop over here so you can kind of see a little bit better. So some of this is on Amazon. I just went through Google and went through K2 meters. I figured this would just be easier to kind of explain. So on Amazon, they have one, a K2 meter with sound alert for ghost hunting. So a lot of times, like with mine, it doesn't have the sound alert, it just has the actual lights. So the sound alert will be kind of like what the millimeter does. So anytime these lights would go on, it would start making an audible sound. No, it could be something good to, you know, you could use. I didn't want to spend the extra money. When I bought mine for $45 off of eBay. And that was a couple of years ago, and they're a little bit cheaper now. So like this one, Amazon, it says it's $69. What else? Ghost Stop, which is another good place. You can find a lot of different paranormal stuff. Again, their stuff is a little bit more on the pricier side. You know, like I said, I shop eBay for most of my stuff. But this K2, it says has on-off switch. It's just the normal one. This one's $59. They have the one with the sound, which is $65. There's an old school type EMF meter, $168. And then you get down to, Amazon has another one for $31. But once you get down to eBay, so they have some bundle things too, kind of like this full spectrum illuminator and the K2 meter for $99. Otherwise, right here from eBay, you can get a K2 meter off of eBay from this seller for $25.99. Now that's a good price. If you're in a budget, you know, and you have a tight budget and you want something that's going to work, is reliable, $25. And then here's another one. This is an older one that's $25. You don't need to spend all this expensive money on certain things, such as with these readers, because realistically, as long as you know how to use it, I started moving more to the old school type thing, to where, you know, yeah, we used tons of equipment before, but now I've started kind of getting away from that, because I started looking at it. I'm like, where do I get more activity? I'm bringing all this other equipment into this area, and all I'm doing is putting more, you know, more things that could possibly skew our evidence based off of other electromagnetic field. You have all this stuff going on. Is it interfering with, you know, any spirits that are there to come out and communicate? So we kind of changed the way we did things a little bit and kind of moved backwards. Started going more old school, using some of the smaller things. And to be honest, you know, it's nice to change because we started getting a little bit more activity. So if you're in a budget for something like this, like I said, you can get it from eBay for like $25. When I bought it, it was $50. You can find, like, I shop everything paranormal wise on eBay. eBay is a fantastic place to go. So that's all I got for the K2 meter. I hope that helps you, and I hope if you're looking for it, you know, you get one. Like I said, I love it. I wouldn't change a thing. If anything, I would make, you know, if the millimeter was the same price as this, I would definitely do that. Or maybe if they could even put a temperature thing on here for, you know, like a little bit more money, I would definitely do that. But otherwise, fantastic. You cannot go wrong with this.